G'day lawn lovers, and welcome to the next episode of the We Love Lawns and Gardens podcast. My name's Josh Scott, I'm your host for today, and we have a really cool episode for you today. Today we're going to talk about expenses within your business, what they mean, how to look for them, how to reduce them, how to manage them, and overall just what expenses can do to your business to make it either good or bad. But today, I just want to shout out to all the people that have been listening to our podcast. As you probably know, we've been running now for about 6 or 7 weeks. We're really happy with the way that it's been going. We've been getting some really great feedback from people, and our number of listener views, are just increasing every single time. So all the people that have stopped, listened to us, and have been liking, commenting, sending through feedback, it's a shout out to you. Are really excited, grateful, happy that people have been acknowledging the podcast that we've been doing and the way that it's been working. We've had people reaching out saying that they've been learning things from it, which if you've listened to previous podcasts, you'll know that we have a goal that if one person can get something out of every single podcast, then it is our job is done and someone's learned something, and we move on from there on to the next one and teach someone else something else. So once again, thank you for the feedback. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking us on Spotify, because that helps us grow, gets in the ears of more lawn care operators while they're out in the field working. And yeah, we're really happy with how it's all going. So thank you once again to all the listeners. Without you guys, obviously we would be nothing. First of all, today, the main thing or the topic that we're going to be talking about is expenses. So expenses within your business. I'm going to break that down. It's something that is often overlooked. It's a common theme that you see businesses that are going good from the people that we coach, people that are doing pretty well and making good profit, really understand their expenses, understand how their expenses are affecting their business. And also on the other side, on the contrary, we've got people that are pretty new to business or they're just looking to improve. When we start talking about expenses within their business, they don't really have any sort of plan, any sort of method around how they're managing their expenses. So if this is you and you're not really sure, what your expenses are, how to look at them, how to calculate them, how to reduce them, which is the main thing, this episode will be good for you, because you'll be able to get some little tips, get some little tricks on how you can manage your expenses and what that looks like. It's always a bit of a funny thing for me that I joke about to myself, maybe to my mates down the pub, but every time we get asked, someone will ask us in our business, how are you going? How many people have you got working for you at the moment? And it makes you think about it, that it's a real measure of how people will measure your business success, how many people you have working for you. And by the end of this episode, you'll probably get the picture. When you really think about expenses, those things don't really matter. How many people you got working for you? I could employ 10 people tomorrow, make absolutely no profit, have huge wage bills, and everyone around town would think that I'm doing really well. On the contrary, no one really asks, how much profit did you make? Or no one really asks, how are your expenses going at the moment? And those questions are probably more important than how much money are you making, how many guys you got working for you, because they're the real drivers of your business. Some people out there are making heaps and heaps of money, but they're also spending heaps and heaps of money. And now the name of our game is obviously in lawn care or any business really in general. We want to be making as much money as we can, and we want to be spending through our expenses the least amount of money as we can. Now, for the people that are just starting out, you might be new to business, you might be new to your business, or you might be far along the road but not really know this. But when people talk about profit, essentially the way we get that profit number is how much money you make minus how much money you spend. So your revenue, how much money you make, minus your expenses, how much money you spend, equals your profit. The name of the game is to have as much profit within your business as possible. And there's a few ways we can do that. One is we either make more money with the same expenses, or we make the same money with less expenses. So if you can't tell by now, the expense part of it should really be looked at equally as important as how much money are you actually making. And I think that's one thing that we see within the clients that we coach at the moment. So for those that don't know, we've got a business coaching business, which we concentrate in on the lawn care industry, so helping people improve their businesses. But one of the main things we see and one of the big things we drive is expenses should be looked at equally as important as how much money you're making. The amount of money you're making does not really matter if your expenses are high and you're not making any profit. So keep that in mind as we go through the podcast. But I want to just go through a few little tricks and things that we can do. So revenue minus expenses is profit. The aim of the game is to be making as much profit as you can. That is the sole reason, and we're going to talk about profit in another podcast, but that is the sole reason we're business owners. You want to be making profit within your business. You want to be making as much profit as you can within your business, regardless if you're doing this for a new lifestyle or you want to have a job where you go and pick up the kids or you go to the kids' sporting events or whatever it actually is. But the name of the whole game is to be making as much profit as you can. The reason for that is if you're paying yourself, for argument's sake, $100,000, you're making zero profit in your job, but you're actually working 80 hours a week because you're invoicing and you're quoting and you're mowing and you're hiring people and doing all of that sort of thing. Surely it's better to go and make $100,000 mowing lawns, working for someone else and just working 38 hours and not having all the stress of business ownership. So profit is really important. Now, when we come to expenses, we want to know how we can find those figures, how we can find how much money that we're spending. And it's a pretty simple way. Most people will either be using MYOB or Xero as their accounting software. Within their accounting software, and whichever one you're using, we would hope by now, and I sort of advise people that even if you're just a sole operator and you're just starting out, have some sort of accounting software so that you can track all of these things and everything. Your bookwork is looking good and it's neat and tidy and it's professional to be able to send off to your accountant to do all the end of year stuff. But if you're looking in any of your accounting software, I think in Xero it comes in under the accounting tab, but you'll find your profit and loss statement somewhere in there. In your profit and loss, it's going to have all of the things that you need to know within your business. It's going to have how much money you're actually making. So how much money you are invoicing through your business is going to go into revenue. And then all of your expenses will be listed underneath that once you have it all set up. It will come in the form of different codes. So there's going to be codes for wages, there's going to be codes for your advertising, there's going to be codes for your fuel, there's going to be codes for every single expense that you have there. Now, as a tip, it's probably best to get your accountant to set up all of your codes for you. So when you come to reconcile everything as payments come into your business through your bank into your accounting software, you can code it so that it's all the money that comes in as an expense is going into the right section of your business so that you can look at it and analyze it. So that's kind of where we find it. We have a look in our accounting software. We try and find our profit and loss somewhere there. You've hopefully got it all set up. You've got all of the codes all set up and you can see there that you've spent X amount on fuel, you've spent X amount on wages, you've spent X amount on advertising, and whatever your accountant sets up as to where they want each code to go will be where you'll code it when you go to reconcile your account as you're doing all your reconciling through your accounting software as payments come in. As I said before, the aim of your expenses is to keep them as low as you can to increase the middle bit, which is your profit. It's often something that people sort of struggle with. You got to think, most of us have come from working for someone else. So you might be on your $100,000 or whatever it is, $80,000 or $90,000. You might be on those sort of numbers working with someone else. But as your business starts to grow, you're going to start to deal with bigger numbers. You're going to deal with, You might deal with $1,000 a job for a day. You might be dealing with $10,000 a week. You might be dealing with $50,000 a week. But the trick in all of it is, if the more money that you see come in, it makes you a little bit more frivolous with your expenses. So you see $1,000 come in and you want to go and buy a new hedge trimmer for $1,000. It's very easy to be in that mindset of, I'll just go and buy it, or I'll just go and buy something for my car, or I'll just go buy something else that I need. I'll just go and buy new tires for my trailer. The big thing about it, if you're not managing it, even if you are making that $50,000 a week or whatever it becomes, it's very easy to spend big lots of money as well. So the thing I will say is, if you are starting to make a little bit more money, your expenses are something that will also start to creep up. And naturally it will need to anyway, because you're going to need more things, you're going to need more staff, you're going to need more things to actually drive your business and drive that revenue up. But it's one of those things that can easily, especially at the start, become one of the things that can get pretty out of control pretty quickly. I've had different times where I've looked back and we've made really good money for the week, and then you look back and you look at how much you've actually spent for your week and you go, how did I actually spend that much money? When you break it all down, lots of little $100 here, lots of little $1,000 there become big things when you add them all up for the end of the month. So got to look at and really put an importance thing on it, that your expenses are just as important as how much money you're making. Now, how can you reduce your expenses? So this is a thing that we get all of our coaching clients to basically do when they start off working with us. It's a way that we can make sure that all of our expenses, not only our business expenses within our business, but also they are things that we are using to drive our business and make it better. When I did this exercise the first time, I went back and I had subscriptions to KO so I could watch the footy. I had subscriptions to the gym, which I hadn't been to for a year. I had all of these little things that had crept into my business account and business spending. And what I'll say to that is, it's fine if you want to put all that stuff through. That's all good. Put it through your business. Do whatever you need to do for your business. But lots of little 15, 20, 25, 30 subscriptions, costs, monthly things that come out of your account can end up becoming big things at the end of time. And also, as you run those exercises on your expenses, it also teaches you to really become a little bit more tight with your money. I think what you want to do is kind of have that little bit of fear with your expenses of your business, that you don't want to spend too much money. And every time you're making a decision which involves spending money, you want to be making a controlled, planned decision around it, and make sure that every time you're spending money, every time you get your card out to tap at the mower shop or for lunches for your staff or whatever it actually is, you want to make sure that every time you're making that decision, it's something that you need for your business and you're aware of how much it is and how it's going to affect you. So the exercise is, print out your bank statement. So go back to the last month, whether it's March or February or both as a good example. Print out the whole month, have it physically on a bit of paper in front of you, and you want to be only keeping expenses in. So you want to grab a pen, and if it's something that is helping you keep customers, you want to put a tick next to it. Or if it's something helping you get customers, you want to put a tick next to it. And if it's something that's not doing either one of those two, you want to put a highlighter through it. So what we're going to do is something that's going to help you get customers. Might be your advertising. It might be printing flyers. It might be uniforms or something like that. And then something that's going to help you keep customers might be a subscription to Sortscape. So you've got your scheduling app. It might be a subscription to Xero for your accounting app. So any of those two things, you want to break it down simply into two sections really. One section is something that's helping you keep a customer, something that's helping you get a customer, gets a tick next to it, and then anything other than that gets a highlighter through it. As you go through your month, you're going to get to the end of the statement and you're going to have a good overview and a good snapshot of exactly where your expenses are. We've run this exercise with people that we coach, and people have got so many expenses that have crept into their business they had no idea of. They were paying for subscriptions on things that they had no idea they were still paying for. People had like old phones that they were still paying for through their business. All of that sort of stuff is going to give you a good overview of how tidy your expenses are and where all your money is actually going. As I said before, it may only be a $10 a month thing, but if you're not using it, you have to put a highlighter through it. And then the next stage of this whole exercise is to go back through, and anything that's got highlighters, make a bit of a business decision, but anything that's got a highlighter through it, essentially you want to get rid of. So you want to be spending a day, you want to be emailing, messaging, calling, doing whatever you have to do to end those subscriptions and cancel them. And then you want to have a look at how much money that's going to save you over that month of just stuff that's absolute junk and you don't need within your business to help it out. Some people will go through it and say, I really want that little subscription there. I need this for that or whatever, or I just want to put this through my business. The whole point of doing it is not only to clear out things you don't need, but it's also to change your mindset around your spending. So if you've got $500 worth of stuff every month within your bank statement that you completely eliminate, based on what we said before, that is going to be straight profit, which is going to go to you. So it's such a good exercise that you can just find so much money. And if you think $500 every single month, that might be a whole day's work for people. And you get that just by doing nothing. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to mow anything. You don't have to hedge anything. You've just got to ring people up and say, that subscription that I've had for 3 years, I don't need it anymore. Can you please cancel my subscription? A lot of these people that get you to sign up for low fee, repetitively monthly direct debits, they just completely rely on us, set and forget, and then absolutely forgetting and not even realizing. So to recap, print your bank statement out. Anything that's helping your business, anything that's helping you keep a customer, anything that's helping you get a customer stays. Anything else goes. And it sounds brutal, but when you do it, you'll understand that it is a really good exercise and it's going to help you get your expenses down. So I highly recommend that everyone does that, whether you're at the start of your business journey, whether you're at the end of your business journey, whether you've been doing it for 10 years. Even me now, like every sort of 3-4 months, I'll print out a bank statement and go through it. And every single time I'm surprised at what expenses have actually crept in. Some of the other ways you can help out your expenses by reducing them is renegotiating some of your policies like insurance. You may have accounting that you don't use as much as you used to use, or you can speak to your accountant and say, hey, I'm just going through all my expenses, just trying to see if the current money that you're charging me is still relevant. Just think anything that you think you might be able to get a reduction on is going to be straight profit, right? So if you can get right in, renegotiate your insurance, speak to your brokers, speak to the insurance companies, have a look around, see if you can find, it might be car insurance or your equipment insurance. See if you can find something that's cheaper, because there's always something cheaper. And if you've had the same insurer or the same accountant or the same broker or finance broker or whatever it might be, finance loans is another big one. Have a look, because anything that you save is going to go straight into profit, and that's what we're chasing at the moment. Another thing you can look at within any of our lawn care businesses, our staff wages are a big thing. That's going to take up close to, depending on what percentage you're currently at, but you would like to think it's going to be somewhere between sort of like 40 and 50% your staff wages if you're running pretty big teams. there's a management piece in all of that where perhaps if you've got casuals, you can reduce their hours through getting more efficient at what you're doing. There might be a way that you can cram jobs that are more effective so that you're not using as many staff hours. So that's another big one. If you can get a bit of a reduction on your staff hours, along with doing your bank statements, along with doing your policies, it can really add up to be quite a lot of money, and you've got that locked in now, month on month on month, that's going to be straight profit, as we said before. One other little trick that can happen with lawn care operators, I've been guilty of it, is you can get a lot of customers that are set up on cash. So the old saying, cash is king and all of that sort of thing. Any of the service-based industries tend to be an industry where people, for whatever reason, like to pay cash. And obviously people will like to take cash as well. One little thing that can happen is when you're looking at your profit and loss in your zero or your MYOB, cash, unless you're declaring it, and sorry ATO, but not everyone's going to declare all their cash. I always do, but not everyone does. It's only going to show what you've invoiced and also what your expenses are. So if you've got 50% cash coming through your business, your expenses are still going to be the same, but the other 50% of stuff that you've invoiced is going to show up as in your revenue. So some people might do that as a strategy. Run your business however you like. We're going to talk about that on other podcasts around profitability, getting loans and finance and all of that sort of thing. But for the sake of this exercise, what I have seen in some people's profit and loss is they take big cash, big numbers of cash. Their expenses remain the same because they're putting all their expenses through their business, and it's showing that they're running a massive loss. So if you put all the cash in, maybe that they're running even or whatever it might be, but you'll find that a lot of the people that have been doing it for a fairly long time will put most of the stuff through their books because they're really dialed in on their numbers and they want to know exactly how much they're putting through their business, how much they're making from their business, and how much they're spending within their business. So thought that was worth a mention because sometimes people will go, I made $800 today and I spent $500 and I should have $300 of profit, but instead we did $800 and $400 of that was cash. So we spent $500 and we lost $100. So we're $100 in the negative as far as being on the books go. As I said, this isn't advice on how to run your business, taking cash, all that sort of stuff. This is just things that I've noticed through people that we coach, and people aren't really taking into account their revenue number doesn't include cash because perhaps they're not declaring all the cash that they make. So that's a bit of a trick. So have a look at that if that's you. When you've got your P&L, people often ask me what is a good amount to check it. It's probably best at the very minimum that you want to be checking your profit and loss statement at the end of every month. So once all of your expenses have been in, once all of your customers have been invoiced, that's a good time to see your profit and loss and see how much you're spending. One thing that I'll say when it comes to your expenses, what can happen is you'll have a lot of loans, a lot of subscriptions on different stuff. All of that stuff may come out towards the end of the month. So if you're running your P&L constantly and you're looking at it every couple of days and your profit's up and you're going really well, remember if you're invoicing every day, your revenue is going to keep on going up and up and up at a steady rate, basically live to the work that you're doing. But sometimes your expenses, they're not going to come out of your account, out of your bank at a consistent rate. So a lot of people will have things, whether it's the middle of the month or the end of the month, but it can be a little bit tricky to get a gauge on how you're going every couple of days when you're just looking at your P&L, because it's only going to show you a profit figure of where you're currently up to right now. And often what will happen is you'll get big chunks of expenses come out. So you might get 3 or 4 on one day, you might not get any for 3 or 4 days, then you might get another 2 on another, then nothing for a week. So That can be a bit of a hard thing to track if you're going to track it a lot. But if you go through your bank account and do what we said before, if you're checking it at least once a month at the end of the month, those expenses should stay pretty similar if you're just using the same amount for advertising, the same amount for wages. And you kind of want to do that. You want to really just lock in your expenses on how much you're actually spending each month. And then that way you can make better decisions around if you can afford to buy the next big thing. I was listening to a podcast today and it was talking about the profit first method. So I want to quickly just talk about what that looks like. We're going to do a podcast on it in a lot more detail, but some people will take out the actual profit that they're aiming to make for the month and put that in a separate account. And then all the other money that is left over for the month will just be for your expenses. So you're essentially banking profit at the start of the month, not at the end of the month. We have done that within our We Love Lawns and Gardens business at different times. It works really well because it's going to help you make better decisions. Essentially, the money that's going to be left over based on how much you're spending each month, you take your profit out of it, and then you've kind of got your bank account there to be able to spend whatever you need to the end of the month, and make sure that, you know, if you've only got $500 left towards the end of the month, you're not going to go and buy a $1,000 hedger, because that's going to come out of your profit. And you essentially, with this method, you won't have any money in your account to actually be able to run it. If any of this doesn't make any sense, if you like the idea of profit first and need more of an explanation, if you're getting a bit stuck on your profit and loss and how to read it, your accountant will be able to explain it to you. But if you want the dumbed down lawn care operator, you know, layman's terms, definition of how to read your profit and loss, just reach out. As we said before, we do business coaching, but the aim of my game right now, especially through this podcast, is to help people. I know what the frustration is like because I've been there many, many years ago, where you don't know your expenses, you don't know how much you're making, you've got no control of what you're actually doing financially within your business. I know what that feels like, and I'm here to help people out to understand it. So send me a message. You can message me through our Facebook page, which is We Love Lawns and Gardens. You can message me through Instagram, which is Joshua Scott Coaching. Any of the questions that we talk about on the podcast, I'm happy to just message people back and forth and explain exactly what I mean when I'm talking about it. It can be one of those really confusing things, because when we start our business, no one teaches us this stuff. You talk to your accountant, you're trying to get some details around how you're going, what your profit and loss statement reads like, are you doing well, are you not? And it's really confusing. They start spitting off all these facts and they're talking about gross net profits and blah, blah, blah. And within 5 minutes, you're probably going to leave more confused than when you walked into the meeting. So there's a free offer to anyone there that wants to know more about their business and how to set it up, how to understand some of the terminology, which is business stuff. And once you know it and once you understand it, it just becomes so much easier. As I said, the keys that we want to take away out of this is you want to be spending at least amount of money as possible. You want to be making as much money as you possibly can. You want to be making as much profit as you can. So that's kind of the game in a roundabout way of what we're doing. It's easy to make lots of money and spend lots of money, but the idea of it is to be making as much as you can with the least amount of expense. When you're talking to people, you should throw it on them. If you're talking to another business owner, you should ask them, oh, what was your expenses last week? I can bet you now that pretty much 95% of people that you talk to, if you ask them how much was your expenses last week, pretty much 95% are going to have no idea. And if you ask them how much they made last month, I bet you most people could tell you. So what does that say? It says to me that like not many people are actually tracking it. Not many people are actually showing the importance of it. And not many people are understanding how profitable they actually are. So If you can understand that, you're going to be well ahead of the game. You're going to be able to make really good business decisions. It's going to help you go, okay, well, I'm going to spend a little bit more of my expenses this month to try and get more revenue. So you can track things like that. You might run an advertising campaign that might cost you $1,000. But if you're profitable, you know that you can take that money from that profit bank, do it, and then you're going to make more revenue at the top end. There's all of these advantages that you're going to get if you start to understand your business, understand the expenses side of it. And I think why I wanted to do this podcast is there's a lot of people that I'm speaking to lately that aren't really tracking it and don't really have an idea about it. So being that we're trying to help people with their businesses, I thought it was important to talk about it. Let's open it up. If anyone wants to talk about their expenses to me, as I said before, reach out, let us know. The final piece I want to have a quick chat about is our business coaching, which is Joshua Scott Coaching. We're about to launch an online course, which will be part of the We Love Lawns Academy. It's going to be to help people that are just starting out in business to make their first $100,000. It's going to have all of the ways that they can set up their business, the foundations of their business in a really strong, structured way. That's going to come out as a purely online course, and it's going to help people that are just starting out to get their business running really well with the foundations so that they can scale and build and improve their business from there. We also offer group coaching, and we also offer one-on-one coaching. If this is something that you're interested in, reach out once again through our Instagram page, Joshua Scott Coaching, and also on Facebook, which is our We Love Lawns and Gardens page. We're finding that we're getting some really good results with people that are starting to understand exactly what they're doing within their business. They're starting to understand how profitable they are. They're making better business decisions. All of this stuff that we're talking about in the podcast, expenses is something with my coaching clients that we review in detail at every coaching session. All of these things, while, it's another expense, and while I'm talking to you about decreasing your expenses, the expense part of thing with coaching comes into it. I'm here to say you will get to learn from all the expensive lessons that I've learned over my journey of 10 years in the lawn care industry. The amount that you're going to pay for coaching is very, very small compared to some of the lessons that you will learn the hard way that I've already learned, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. So in my eyes, I've had a business coach myself. We've got into the industry to help people, especially business owners in the lawn care industry. We know exactly what it takes to scale a business. We know exactly what it takes to be profitable. And you will do all your coaching with me, whether it's one-on-one or within a group setting. I will run all the coaching sessions, and I'm here to help anyone that's interested in that. So if you want to know what's involved in it, the cost of it, what it looks like, whether I think you're best suited for one-on-one coaching or group coaching, reach out, let me know. I can put together a little bit of a plan for you and all the ways that I think that I can help your business. We offer a free 30-minute discovery call. So people that are unsure, jump on a call, let's have a chat and, take the first steps to really improving your business. Because all these little headaches that you might have now, all these little things that you might be guessing, usually they're just very simple fixes. And because I've been through it all before, I can just say, look at this, look at that. This is coming up. You're going to have trouble with this if you try and implement that. I've done it all before. So while I'm not trying to be a big hero and say that I know everything about lawn care, I don't. There's people out there that know far more than me, but I have been down this road before and I've worked out a lot of these little issues for myself. If that interests you, reach out. I'm here to help. Lastly, all the people that have been listening to our podcast, thank you so much. We hope that we're helping you out with your business. We hope that some of the things that we've spoken about will improve your business and you've been implementing different things within your business for the better and you've been getting good results out of it. We're going to keep going with our weekly podcast. So every week we're going to drop a new podcast. If you can like it, if you can follow it, if you can listen along, the more people we can get to listen along to our podcast, the better it's going to be. My name's Josh. I'm from the We Love Lawns and Gardens and Joshua Scott Coaching. If you need anything with your business, reach out. But thank you for listening, and until next week, we will chat to you then.